right, we're going to now get our Burgundy sense of mind on and go drink some Premier Cru from Louis Latour with our friend Mick Cameron, the Western Regional for Louis Latour. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for recommending this awesome Library 2016 Premier Cru.
Absolutely, Ian. Great to be here again. And again, as and I'll pull this up. And what I want to do first and foremost is to go ahead and get a sense of, give you a sense of Burgundy. A lot of you would have some impressions of Burgundy and know what that's all about, but certainly give you a sense of sort of geolocation, etc., and the key parameters there. And then, of course, talk about the great history, incredible tradition and excellence of the Latour family. So some of you, of course, would have been to France. Many of you, or some of you rather, would have been to Burgundy as well. And on the left here, you have the map of what they refer to as the l'hexagone, the hexagon for obvious reasons, the map of France. And I've highlighted the Cote d'Or. So Cote meaning slope, and gold, so the golden slope. And if you look over to the right map, kind of breaking that out a little bit, we have these famous subregions of Burgundy. I like to call the Chardonnay and Pinot the Duke and Duchess of Burgundy. Of course, Burgundy has a long celebrated history of dukes and powerful sort of fiefdoms in Burgundy. But so the Pinot Noir, of course, celebrated variety, certainly known for these sort of lighter to darker berries, sort of cherry, strawberry, into even more sort of plummy, darker sort of foresty berry kind of characteristics, a lot of earth notes, some violets, lavender, etc. And all this, of course, depending on where these varieties are cultivated. Burgundy is the northernmost latitude for production of the vine. You can see I wanted to show this slide because it certainly conveys the warm, drier sort of conditions. We're looking at the slide to the left in the summertime, and how the soil is can be very dry, and those conditions, particularly in the summer, can be very hot. So I just wanted to give you a little quick sense of this, what they call the quality pyramid. And if you the top, of course, is going to be the most coveted, the smallest production, the highest sort of quality of everything produced in Burgundy. And you can see just to the right of that pinnacle, the apex of the triangle, only 1.4% of the top wines is in the total production of Burgundy. So it's a very rare air in and of itself. And just below that, 10% of what we call Premier Cru. So sometimes, people would understand, some of you would know Grand Cru, that sort of designates a certain quality kind of nomenclature. Premier Cru is the next tier down, some outstanding wines there as well. And you can see that's only 10%. So that number 684, Climat, is the number of parcels, number of vineyards that are represented in that 10% of production, 684. So you can get a sense of the small kind of carved up nature of the Burgundian vineyards, and classified vineyards. It's a very unique situation in the world of wine. Right below that, you see about 37%. That's the village level wines. All the Premier Cru and Grand Cru vineyards lie within those villages, the names of which you would know: Meursault, Vaune-Romanée, Gevrey-Chambertin, etc., Pommard, Puligny-Montrachet. So some famous villages within which we find the Premier Grand Cru. And then you have the regional wines at the base of this trial, about 52%. So there you can source Pinot or Chardonnay from anywhere within Burgundy. You're getting Bourgogne Rouge, Bourgogne Blanc, red and white Burgundy, so regional wines. As far as the story, I'll give you a quick snapshot here as well, the Latour family. So founded in 1797, as you can see, the dashing young gentleman to the left of the screen is Louis Fabrice Latour. So this is a continuous 11th generation family-owned operation. Ian, it's one of those incredible European stories of heritage, again, tradition, excellence, and continuity. And I think a lot of people, kind of have a misconception of, we have, of course, producers who buy fruit from all over the world, and they have, the level of winemaking they have, artisan or sort of just good, solid winemaking, et cetera. We have the rock stars everywhere. The Latour family is the largest producer in Burgundy, while owning, being, I should say, the third largest owner of land in Burgundy, but also producing up and down Burgundy. So we produce over 130 wines every year with 3 winemakers, which you can imagine is a huge undertaking, and cover the entire spectrum of, again, value wines all the way up to the very top and the sort of, again, rare air coveted wines there. So largest producer of Grand Cru. We talked about that tip of the pyramid, and what that designation means in terms of quality. And a century-old cooperage operation. So this is about 130 years old now. I like these old vintage photos. When the Latours landed in the region in 1737, the first Latour in that lineage was a cooper, barrel maker. And, so this family started buying vines slowly, et cetera, et cetera. But it's a great tradition in this house, being the only and unique producer of barrels and simultaneously wine producer. The Beaune Perrieres is what we have. Again, this is 2016 that we wanted to put in front of all of you. This image is iconic. It's the old 15th century hospices that were the first to be built for helping the care for the poor in all of Europe. And you can see the influence. The Dukes of Burgundy, of course, controlled all of the Benelux countries, Holland, and they love that architecture. See this sort of influence, Dutch influence in architecture in Burgundy. So obviously this is just such an incredible structure, a beautifully iconic structure. And they still, like let's say the Napa Valley Wine Auction, they hold a great auction every year here to benefit the hospital still to this day. So let me speak just for a minute about the Beaune Perrieres. All the major historical players are located, the offices in this historical outpost, Roman outpost of Beaune. Spectacular, and I know you've been there, and I'm sure some of the folks on the call have been as well. Perrieres is an easy one to really talk about, because it represents a direct geological reference. So if you think pierre, some of you would know that means stone in French. So you have a really gravelly, very, very sort of Burgundy famed for limestone, of course, not a lot of clay, a lot of structure. And I often think when we do different wine events and show some of these younger, because it's library wine, yes, but at the same time, this wine will age in your cellar for another 10, 15 years. It's got incredible structure, very, very juicy, dark fruit, very lush style, a lot of earthy notes, some, sort of those smoked meats, and sort of slightly gamey, austere, a rustic a little bit, but with such lush fruit that all of those components make for a very complex wine. This is a quintessential food wine with that structure. And so, of course, your seared ahis, your grilled ribeyes, your sort of porcini, stews and things that you would do that would have those sort of hearty notes to them. But again, when you taste this wine, I want you to really think about what a wine like this, the time it needs to unpack itself. So you really need to swirl it around to aerate this wine, and you're it's a kind of a little snapshot into where it's going to go. And of course, again, you put the right food with it, all of those structural acid kind of framed characteristics, the frame of the wine will really sort of soften out and sort of be, I would say, subsumed into the food, and the fruit just comes rushing forward at that point with a great structure behind it. So
we're in Burgundy.
Yeah,
Burgundy. We're in the Cote de Beaune. We're in the town of Beaune, and we're in the vineyard of Perrieres. And this has been elevated as Premier Cru since the Premier Cru system was established over 100 years ago, or about 100 years ago. And this is just a really special site, and Beaune is the major city in Burgundy, and so all these things come together, and so really a recognizable and an important designation, and that's what you're tasting here, is that singularity, that focus on this one vineyard inside of this village, inside of the appellation of Burgundy. It's really special.
Yeah, thank you so much for all those great comments, because that's exactly right. And I really want all of you to enjoy what Pinot can do via this type of a beautiful single vineyard in these cool climate limestone soil conditions, and give you a really muscular, robust, a very powerful style of Pinot Noir. So thanks again for having me. Great to participate with you, Ian, and all of you, and your great consumers. And I look forward to the next time. frankly, we can do this live, and I can come down there and say hello to a lot of people then. But have a great rest of your evening, and look forward to seeing you all soon.
Thank you so much for your time, and this is incredible to be able to taste this special bottling. So appreciate it very much, and we will see you live very soon.
Sounds great. Merci beaucoup.
Au revoir.
Au revoir.